Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Martini with Eddie, your ultimate destination for everything Bravo and pop culture. Tonight, we're gonna be talking about Vanderpump Rules, and I think for this, conversation, I want somebody who understands real estate to be present and explain to us this whole situation with Ariana and Tom's house. Um, she's not only somebody that I adore because she's the best. She's also an iconic Real Housewife of New York character. She is Dorinda's very own real estate Laurie. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good, good, good. Happy to have you tonight. How you
Thank
doing?
you. Happy to be here
Um,
and
I'm. s-
happy to talk a lot.
Yes, we're gonna get into all the Vanderpump Rules mess. I know you love Vanderpump Rules, and just like myself, we have a special place for our girl Ariana. So we are gonna be talking about that all night tonight.
Perfect. I'll give you my take and how I feel.
So let's start by saying, how how do you feel about the separation of Ariana and Tom Sandoval? Because you know that came from last season, right? We saw an explosive reunion, and then we got into this new season with the scandal still being the topic of conversation. What was your take on last season's explosive revelation of Tom Sandoval cheating on Ariana with Rachel?
Listen, the President of the United States knows about Ariana. Everyone knows the story. It's gone worldwide because this woman was betrayed. And it hits home for a lot of other women. And this was a friend of hers. Was sneaking behind her back, pretending to be in love with her and screwing her best friend. And he must have gotten a thrill out of bringing her to her home, their home. This is sick. This is a bad situation. He thinks a lot of himself. We all know that. We know he's a narcissist, and it's very difficult to live with someone like that. And I know Ariana. I met her a bunch of years ago at a book signing in Barnes and Noble. Her book was then that cocktail book that she wrote, which was incredible. And
Yes.
there were very few people there. I didn't understand it. I said, Ariana, who? I went up to her. I said, who organized this? Well, they made a big mistake. It was not organized right. And I was trying to help her along and getting the people in line and whatever, whatever. And of course, I met with them personally. She is the loveliest person. I say that because I don't have to. I know people. Do you know how many thousands of people I've dealt with over 40 years in real estate?
Hmm.
And you deal with them on a personal level because buying a home is the biggest investment you'll ever make. So you see all sides of people. You see them at their worst, at their best, fighting with their husband. It's money. And this is the biggest investment. So you see all sides of them. So, and I walk people around all the time. And again, you get very friendly with them and you know all about when I first see someone, I can tell all about them. I know what they're going to say, how they're going to act, whatever. Ariana, and I'll stand up to that, the few times I've met her has been beyond lovely because when they had uh, the show in New York, and it was like a great weekend. Unfortunately, I didn't go to Vegas, but next year I surely will. I had the best time. But she made a point of walking off the stage when she saw me to hug me. I mean, she is a very special person. She doesn't forget, and she is a real, real person. I've seen her, of course, many times in person, and I watched her one woman show that she had, and I was totally impressed with her. She really is talented and she presents herself very well. She's very bright, she's very secure, and she's got a great sense of humor. Now, I've watched Vanderpump for since the beginning. I've seen these women It was great fun when they were all bartending because that was the whole thing of the show. And it was a lot of
Hmm.
fun watching. And you sort of like to see everybody carrying on with everyone, having their sexual encounters, whatever they did. It was fun. As you know, reality is the greatest escape. That's
Yes.
why I find people, and I'm shocked that they're watching it. They could be a client I have in Europe, a big hedge fund guy, his wife. Oh, we love that show. I'm totally amazed. Celebrities, whatever. This has become big time, slowly taking over everything
Yes.
because it's an escape. You're into their life. This is like the greatest thing. So it's away from the news, it's away from a lot of stuff going on in the country, and it's become a great, great form of entertainment. As far as Ariana goes, she's talented. This was hidden talent. Do you think they want someone on Dancing on the Stars that's a professional? Because that's not what they're about. She came on, she did okay, and then she kept growing,
Yes.
learning and growing. This is the type of person they want on that show. They want to show you hours of training what they could do, but you have to start with talent. It just can't be anybody. I mean, I'd love to go on there and I'd be really a feature.
You'll be
But
great. I
anyway,
see
that's
you
a different.
dancing. I see your dancing videos. You will do great on Dancing with the Stars.
I think so. I'd be their oldest star ever, but whatever. Aside from that, so I'm standing by her because no one really knows her. The audience only sees her and assumes certain things. But be aware of something. Everything they're viewing now was right after the breakup, right after she found out. I mean, how would they feel? This is not a year later or 2 years later, as they're imagining that she still has this vendetta. She could care less about it right now. Who cares?
Exactly.
She's moved on. Did she benefit? She deserved it because she had this hidden talent that nobody could see before. Believe me, if she went to on Chicago, 1 week would have ended. She's talented. She
That's right.
filled the house. They had a sellout. They had to extend it. Show me anyone that's been on there that had an extension and that
Hmm.
filled the house. I was there when she exited. There
We
were
were together that
hundreds of
night.
people out there. I was with you. They were
Yeah.
like so happy to see her and anxious, but she's so low key. She's really not taken with herself that much. She just considers herself to be very lucky, and she's
Mm.
grateful for everyone's support. Really, that's what she's like. She is not full of herself. She is not that kind of person. And I wish her well. I hope she goes on to big things because she is talented. You know, I think Las Vegas could use her. She'd probably be great on the stage there. I was
Yeah.
thinking about that. And she'd draw a huge crowd. Not because she's just Vanderpump, because she is Ariana. And
Yes.
that's the greatest thing because she has other hidden talent. And she is beautiful.
I agree
Close
with
up,
you.
beautiful.
Laurie,
I
I
couldn't
agree
believe how
with you.
beautiful she was. Her skin is great. She has beautiful features, but the sweetness shines through. I mean, I've met them all. And you get taken with yourself. You're a celebrity. Come on. They go everywhere. People stop them, talk to them. They want to know about them, whatever. She is gracious and lovely. I watched her with everyone that was waiting outside. She shook hands with everyone. And you can't change that. And I'm just hoping it continues for her. So when somebody says something nasty, I feel, you don't know what you're talking about. Be quiet. You want to be nasty? There's a lot of things you can be nasty about others.
I agree. Especially now that you're talking about people saying mean things about Ariana. Like, we both know her in a more personal level. We know her outside the Vanderpump show. So when I see people making comment about her character and how she is, I'm like, you don't know this person.
Exactly.
Especially now that we're talking about the fact that this new season was filmed only 3 months after the scandal kind of took over the whole entire media. Um, my other question for you, especially since you are a realtor, I want you to explain people why it would be a bad idea for Ariana to simply move out of the house that she invested on and just leave it for Tom Sandoval to take care of business. What would be a bad idea for her to move out simply because people think that she should do that and
I
leave it to
question her
Sandoval?
about that, by the way, because being a realtor, of course, I said, "Buy New York. I'm here for you." She said, when I'm in LA, I love LA. When I'm here, I love New York. But my home base is LA, and I have to have a home there.
Mhm.
Honestly, I think once you're in New York, it's kind of hard to go back to living in LA because you're always in your car. I've spent many times in LA. You're walking. You don't walk that much. I'm always walking there. I mean, I'm walking. Where do I walk? I walk all the streets where the shops are. But there's no place to really go. New York is a walking, thriving, busy city. It's a
Mhm.
very different pulse. So she bought there because that's where she's happy at the moment. But who knows what the future will bring? Let's hope she gets a gig again on Broadway. Somebody might be smart enough to bring her on because
Mhm.
look what happened. It'll happen again. People are interested in her and she has talent, which is the best of all. So I think her staying in the house was her only choice. She had no other place to stay. And she tried it. Fortunately, she just left for all these months, so it's been great. And they have to sell that house, or he has to buy her out. She's not interested in living with him. She doesn't
Mhm.
like the house anymore. The vibes are not good. You got to move on and get your own thing. And she's doing well enough to put money down on another home. Like all of them, who knows? Maybe she'll move to the valley. I don't know what the future is for her. It may be very different than all the other Vanderpump cast. We'll see. Time will tell. But they're all in the valley. That's the next step because they're too old to work at a bar. And it's just, they're now in their 40s, not so young anymore. And
That's
so you
right.
want to see them interact with other couples and see how that goes. It's keeping me interested, so it should be rather fun to watch. And of course,
Yes, the Valley. I think I was talking about that today with a friend. I do believe that the Valley as a show is like that next step for a lot of the people who
oh
are
yeah, no
tagged
question. That's
on
why they
Western
did it.
Rose right now.
Yeah,
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 I
yeah.
mean, you can see that Lala and Sheena already purchased homes in the Valley, which means that it's kind of like a way for them to get into this new show, right? Pretty much everybody on Vanderpump Rules kind of like outgrew the show as it is. Like they are not working at the restaurants
So
anymore.
what's the point of it? Tom Tom?
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
boring. It's gonna move on from that. By the way, Lala, I personally met and had a long conversation with. She's a very nice person. I was kind of surprised. She's not as wild as she appeared. I think she's calmed down a lot. I think they sort of learned a lesson. She's learned her lesson. She had the rich boyfriend that betrayed her, so that's another story and a half. And she kind of likes being a mother, which is great. So she's having another child, and that's what women do now. Doesn't prevent you from getting married. You can still go on in life and do your thing, but they want that child, which is the greatest gift in the world. And
Yes.
having a friend in life is the greatest gift in the world. Getting married, having or someone that you love. I always say this: those five fingers mean everything. So she moved on, Ariana. Who knows how long that relationship, but it made her happy. No one wants to be alone. It's a very tough thing to be alone. And if you have someone you can talk to and spend time with, you feel better about yourself as well. So, most women that have a situation like this should really be looking up to Ariana because she was able to move on. Many women are devastated. I mean, I get calls all the time on Cameo asking advice. And I'm always saying, you know what? At your age, you have tomorrow. So forget it. There's someone else that would appreciate you. Move on. Stop moaning. So they look at Ariana and they compare themselves because sometimes they get so depressed they don't move out of their situation. So they should be totally, really enamored with how she's moved on. And of course, if she can make money, she will. What is she, a fool? They all want to make money. They all want to
That's
be.
right.
They want to be Ariana. The whole cast wishes. They're not there to have been a waitress. They were there as actors that couldn't get anywhere, so they joined the cast. That was like they'll be seen and move on from that, and maybe they'll get a role somewheres. And so she did it, and I'm really proud of her and happy for her. And I really wish the best because I just can't forget how lovely she was with me. I said, always, always a hug and a kiss and sweet. What's better than that? The real
That's what
her.
I. That's what I always tell people. I remember, in my case, I first met Ariana through social media. She was like one of the first Bravo talent that I spoke to, that became familiar with. She will always reply. She was always funny. She was always asking for, like, how you doing. She was very personable. And then we met up in person, obviously, and we clicked. Then BravoCon 2022 happened. We were at a private event, and I ran into her. We sat down for like 3 hours and plus,
Wow.
uh, and talked about
Chatting away.
everything. Yeah,
She would do
and
that and she'd listen and she'd come in and she'd be kind. I'm not saying that just to say that to flatter her. I don't do
yeah,
that. I don't flatter people. I'm the real, real.
I
Okay.
know you are.
I say it as it is. I've been around too long and I don't go for all that BS. I say the truth. I can't deal
Yeah,
with it. I can't deal with phony people. So I always move on. If you're not what I want and what I expect, goodbye and move on because for everyone that isn't, there's a nice person out there. And you want to surround yourself by good people. So she
yes,
met you and you are a good person, Eddie, and you're very charming and you're very sweet and considerate, and she enjoyed being with you. That's what she's about.
that's
And
right.
and I hope she goes far. I really do. And she's gonna buy. She's bought a new home, and I wish her well. I hope she comes back here more often.
Yeah, I remember when we saw her at Chicago, we were trying to tell her to buy property in New York City instead of buying in Los
I
Angeles.
did.
Like,
I did say that,
just
right?
I would love for her to move to New York. I do believe though that she had more chances to grow as an entertainer in LA. She will have more chances to get into
It's true.
acting, um,
Well, the movie
different.
capital.
Exactly. I mean, it's a different type of like field in LA versus New York City. I mean, here we have more like fashion and theater, and obviously we have film too, but not as big as the studios in LA. So I
That's
do
true.
believe that her home base will definitely be LA, but we will definitely see her coming back and forth because
Well, her
I
best
don't
friend's
think,
moving here. He came here to see her and to be with her,
yeah,
and he loves New York. He rented an apartment in New York. I said,
yeah,
wow, you love New York. Guess what he said to me yesterday? I sure love New York. He's walking everywhere. He's so enthralled with the ability to use your feet, your legs,
yes,
and see all kinds of people. The city is back again. The city
yes,
is active. Look at Broadway. I mean,
mm-hmm.
go down there. It's packed. It was so crowded when I was down there. I had to walk in the street, not even on the sidewalk. It was so crowded. All with what? Tourists.
Yep.
Broadway is kicking again and alive, and Lincoln Center, and we have such wonderful things here in the city to entertain you.
And summer is
Just a
coming.
little further, and the market is moving. I'm really very busy. There are a lot of people. Get me back out of here. Get me out of here. Come back to New York. I want to live in New York. Find me something. I just did a deal. He looked at it online. I did uh, a video with him, and he's buying it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how badly some people want to live in New York. Downtown is hot, so hot. Tribeca, West Village, you know,
Yeah,
you're there.
Yeah,
But
it's
everything's
definitely
good. Even
popping
uptown
again.
where the pre-war wasn't selling because it was a pre-war look, and the new millennium will want that ultra modern open
Hmm.
kitchen loft like space. So the stuff up here is moving again, which is shocking. So you got to get out there, everyone, and buy because you know what? Interest rates are going to go down, and
Hmm.
it is
Correct.
a safe investment. LA is a little soft now, I think. But again, um, you have to own where you are. The rents are crazy here in New York. I rent 30, 40, 50,000 a month.
Hmm.
That's what it costs for a house in the Hamptons 1 month. Some of them
Yeah.
150,000 for the summer. So
Yes.
we're happening here,
Very
and
own. Yeah.
the movie
That.
capital's there, but Broadway's here. And you know what? It's such a small world now. You get on a plane, you hop on a plane, in 6 hours you're here. So you can do it all,
Correct.
and it's been done that way by many.
Yeah, I have a question. Now that you mentioned traveling and such, do you think that if Ariana was to have another like run on Broadway, do you think it would be smarter for her to purchase a small place in New York or
Yes,
just
I
rent?
said that to her. I said you don't have to buy a big apartment because every time she comes here, the hotels are very expensive. And she's reached a stage in life where she doesn't want to hang out in somebody's apartment on the couch or whatever. She needs her own place. Feel good about yourself. So I think instead of renting, you leave your clothes here. You in ownership. You have to know where to buy because I think certain areas you can't even get a one bedroom under $3 million. I have a studio. Can you believe it? They're asking 2.350 for a studio, and there's demand. She has to buy the right building. My advice to her would buy something with security at the door. Um, and there's always someone to buy your apartment again and again and again because people want a spot in New York and where the action is. Always buy in a very expensive area. The old story. Helmsley said this and it was true. It was true 50 years ago and it's true now. Buy the smallest thing in the best location. Always buy location. Forget the size, location is everything. You go anywhere in the world, you tell them where you are in New York, and you say, I want to sell it. They say, where are you? I'll buy it. They don't even have to come here because
Yeah,
location speaks for itself. And she should have something here. Um, you get certain write offs. You can buy it in her name or in a trust or however she wants to buy it. A condominium is the way to go. And when she's not here and she's planning on not being here for a year or two, you could rent it out.
that's right. Have the rent paid the mortgage kind of thing, kind of deal. Um,
Exactly.
I I have now that we're talking about families and stuff. How do you feel about Brock and Sheena? We've seen them.
Okay. I had a long conversation with him.
Okay.
Um, he's very nice and very sweet. She's lucky because she's had a lot of boyfriends, many, 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 and it never went anywheres. And I always say this, and I'll say it again 100 times. Always marry the man that loves you a little more than you love him. He is totally taken with her. And he's a good husband because when she shouts at him or says something because she has, somewhat of a temper and an ego, he goes with it. He's happy to be in the
Hmm.
situation he's in. He's a good guy. So I'm pleased with that relationship. I'm hoping she appreciates him because again, there's a lot of women out
Yeah,
there.
yeah. They seem to have like a good dynamic, even though they are having arguments on the show just over nanny duties kind of thing. I do think that they make a great couple. I
They do.
remember
They
seeing them
do.
many
They're right for
times.
each other.
Like,
No, you're right. I
yeah,
agree with you. He's very attractive. I mean, I don't like the way he dresses. He needs someone to dress him. I think he'd look great if they dressed him. If he got some of them need help. You'd be surprised what clothes do for you. They
Mm-hmm.
make the man. You look at him, the way you dress is how people look at you and the impression they get of you. And so if you put yourself together, not wear pajamas when you're on stage or whatever, get someone to put you together looking sharp. You look sharp, they look at you differently. Believe me, clothes is everything. I don't care what anyone says. It's how you appear, how you put yourself together. Everybody judges you. Now we're getting the Vanderpump Rules clothes that they're wearing at the show,
At the reunion,
everyone's
yes.
judging. You know, Ariana's is a bit much. I mean, the see-through dress, but it is what it is. She's
I
happy.
mean, yeah, she got the body now. She probably gonna be like gonna show it. Somebody made a comment on that photo, and it kind of resonated a little bit with me. Somebody said like Ariana at this point feels like this is her last reunion look, meaning like she's gonna go out with a bang,
No,
meaning like she's already too big for the show and she wanna like kind of like bow wow. And I don't want her to leave the show, but I do think that she's gonna have bigger opportunities
she'll
in her
leave, but
life.
she won't leave right away because
Exactly.
it does lead into other things. And
Yes.
being on there, you're in the public eye.
Mm-hmm.
Exposure is everything. Exposure is everything. And that's how you get a following. I She's proud of the way she looks. She does have a slim body now and she looks great. And why not? It's how she feels about herself. I feel about myself. I'm happy with the way I look. I don't care about anything. I'm happy. I don't care what you have to say.
That's
Oh,
right.
you're wearing something too short, too young. I feel good. Who cares about you? If I feel good, that's the most important thing. And you shouldn't judge people. It's not fair. And I just get irritated when they say nasty things. I don't know why they're nasty. It's wrong. Again, put yourself in her place. It's a tough thing. I mean, she had a long term relationship. Listen, I don't know her that well. I saw her with Sandoval, and they seemed to have a connection. And they were very sweet together. And I'm sure they had many, many good years together. But it's difficult to live with someone that thinks he's everything. He thinks he was the best dressed, the smartest. He was telling everybody how to dress, and oh, he's this, he's that. It's kind of not an attractive look. He
Mm-hmm.
doesn't want to take accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the Rachel thing, I mean, she doesn't even want him now. So, she thought about it. She's probably counting her blessings that it happened like this because she foresees herself with someone that I don't know where he's going after this. Honestly, I don't know. There's a lot of pretty boys out there. And then the
And
pretty
she's
boy
young
loses his
too.
hair and he's not so great anymore. So, you know,
Yeah,
it
and,
is. You
and
got to be
Rachel is
you got to be humane and you got to be it. Karma is everything.
yeah. I do think that Rachel is still a young girl. Like, I mean, uh, I know that she's not the victim of this, and obviously she participated in creating this problem uh, by allowing this relationship behind Ariana's back to happen. But at the same time, I do think she was kind of manipulated by Sandoval.
One,
Sandoval
she
is
could be
older.
manipulated. She
You
could
know,
be. She's not. She's not that clever. I think she's young. She's inexperienced,
exactly.
and she didn't know what she was getting into. And he must have told her, "Don't worry about it. I love you. This is so exciting." And listen, she came out of another relationship, which was kind of odd. I mean, she didn't want to marry him, but she spent all the time with him. This is. I mean, she was engaged. He bought her a
Hmm.
ring. They were planning a wedding. So she could be manipulated. I think she's very insecure and young. And of course, she's lucky that that relationship never really evolved into anything. I'm sure she's counting her blessings now.
I agree. I completely agree. I always feel really kind of like taken back by guys like Sandoval because that they are planning everything ahead, and when things don't go their way, they play victim. That's exactly what he's doing. Like at this point, he feels like he's the victim of like Ariana
No
being
question.
angry, and I'm
Exactly.
like, like
Yes.
you're, yeah,
He's the one that's harmed. He's making himself look that way. And some people fall for it, but I don't, because I see him for what he is. I know people like this. That's the worst kind of man to get involved with. The
hmm
worst. You don't want a man that's so complicated. Honestly, it's a problem. One that thinks too much of himself will think very little of you very shortly.
hmm
So everything you do is going to criticize. If it doesn't make him look good, he's so insecure, he has to look good. If he doesn't look good, he's going to blame you.
hmm
He can't have a long term relationship that's normal. He can't. This is the kind of guy I would tell my daughter to keep away from. This is not the right man if you want a relationship with someone. I told you before. He's got to be kind and nice and not be so full of himself. You don't want, who wants a man that's so full of himself? Honestly.
yeah.
Um,
And like people forget that he always tried to steal the spotlight from Ariana in the past. Like for example, that book, the cocktail book, was her idea. She wanted to do that by herself, and then he inserted himself into her plan, and he became also a part of it. Like he wasn't even gonna be part of the bartending book until he was like, okay, you need me to push this book and to push the sales, and then people also forget that Ariana and Rachel both said in different moments that Sandoval will tell them what to say, especially going into a reunion. Like in last season, after we watched the reunion, we saw that little clip at the end where production
yes.
asked Rachel back to talk about, how everything happened, and she said he told me what to say. He told me that everything was gonna be okay, and he prepped me for the reunion. So this man, it is manipulating these girls, and I hate, I hate when the women is villainized for the actions of the man, right? Like if
Well
you go
said.
online and you see all these nasty people talking about Ariana and making excuses for Tom Sandoval, I'm like, are we watching the same show? Are we understanding the situation on the same level? Because I don't think so. I mean, this man was not man enough to end the relationship with Ariana to move forward with Rachel. He actually brought both girls down, and then he plays the victim because he realized that people were siding with Ariana, and now he needs the attention because Ariana is giving him the energy that he deserves. I mean, every ounce of anger, every ounce of disappointment, the every time that she's upset with him is deserved because he destroyed what they built together for 10 years. So I still don't understand how anyone can make excuses for Tom Sandoval at this point.
You know, he is, but it's all very entertaining.
Oh,
And that's the reason we're all so involved in this. It's entertaining, but it's at the expense of these women. And I really feel badly for them. And I really, really feel badly for Rachel. I think she was done in. It's just unfortunate. But I feel a little bit vindicated. He must be, listen, let's face reality. We're all a little jealous. Come on. Wouldn't you be? You're on the show and look what happened to one of them. They're where they all want to be. And
hmm.
Tom must be dropping dead that she's become so well known and onto Broadway, something he would have loved to have done
Oh yeah.
and may never really get to go because his talent is not that great. And
Thank you.
and I don't. I mean, I don't see it. You're going to go so far, and that's the end of it because you're not young anymore. You're not 25 and you're heading upwards. You're 40. It limits itself, the time. Uh, a woman is, you could say a man is different, but I think a woman is better because there's appreciation now for older women. When you even look at the housewives, there's so much interest and was in New York housewives. The
hmm
women were in their 50s. I mean, Ramona, almost 60. Look what she looks like. Well, almost 60, in her 60s. What am I saying? I forgot for the moment she looks so good. I mean, the Countess, late
Mm.
50s, can wear a tiny bikini. I mean, I think it's amazing. I think it's great. We should look as good as we could for as long as we can. And now
Mm.
things are being offered to us that make us look that way. Why not?
Yeah,
Trust
that's
me,
right.
life goes so fast. If you can look good as long as you can, do it. And young people like to look at these older women because then they say, wow, 40 years from now, I could look like that. That's an inspiration to these young girls. Honestly, I think the older you are and if you look good, you should be applauded. And more of that's happening now. Because
Mhm.
you look on Instagram, these women with their bodies and they're older women, and everybody's following them and admiring them. Why not? You want to have a facelift? Go do it. If you feel good, it's you. I don't care. You don't have to look gray hair and wrinkled because then you get depressed and you make people depressed around you. So I say, as I remember my mother getting up every morning into her 90s with the makeup next to her bed, putting her makeup on, dyed her hair, wore makeup. She felt alive. She felt great. And she didn't want anyone to see her looking old. She didn't want pity. She never moaned. And everyone aspires to that. So the housewives that are older are really the great shows to watch. There are
Mhm.
shows that are canceled that I really loved. I thought Texas was great. I loved it. Young is good, it's fine, it's fun, but that's your friend. You see that every day. You don't see the older women interacting. And that's where it's interesting. And that's why they miss, you know, the old Dorinda and all the women that were running around, but to see they look good and they feel good and it's fun to watch them because,
Yes.
that's the great escape into that world.
I mean, Laurie, you are part of that world too. You you
I
you,
am.
you are
I'm
you are
referring to myself when I refer to them.
yeah, of course. You are part of the iconic Real Housewives of New York. You
Yes,
know.
well, I'm a real New Yorker. I always say this, but the Countess just got that job and she met me first time and she said to me, I got this job. Can I call you? I don't know what a New York housewife's about. Because remember something, she was living overseas.
Mm-hmm.
She was not living a housewife life here. It's a whole different world. So, it's evolved and they've made futures for themselves. So I'm proud of that. Proud of them. Sonia's on a one woman show. Good for her. People are laughing, people are having fun. They like that. They like that better than a young girl going out there. Because the young girls, it's easy to do that. When you're older,
Yes.
to look great and glamorous and be funny is a chore. It's not easy. And if you can command a huge audience when you're that age or older, I think it's spectacular. I think it's fabulous because this is what the world is like. Youth. Everybody craves youth. Everybody wants to look good. You see the beautiful woman, she gets stepped on sometimes in a relationship because she doesn't think much of herself. You see the woman that's not beautiful and's got the greatest, richest, handsomest husband because she's secure. She knows what she is. And if you think you're that great, he'll think you're that great. Always
Mm-hmm.
remember that. Think a lot of yourself. And I tell this to women. He didn't like you? Move on. He's not good enough for you. Tell him go to hell. Find somebody else. You're a fool anyway. I'm glad I left you. Or you left me. And that's what Ariana's saying. She's so glad now. When she's thinking back, it was the right step. He gave her that opportunity. And good luck. It's great. Move on. And Mr. Full of himself may not go anywhere very far. So,
I mean, and that is like to me that's like the biggest lesson out of this whole scandal, right? It should be a lesson for all everybody, not just women, everybody, that if you are ever cheated on, your heart is broken, don't sit at home. I mean, yeah, you had to grieve in your time, but don't just sit at home and do nothing. Life continues. Take that moment as
and
a
make it and
platform.
make it worthwhile. Make it a
Exactly.
positive.
Exactly. Like push yourself out there. Like make it something that's gonna. propel you to do bigger things in life. Don't let anybody push you down because life is too short, like you said. Life is too
If you
short. Take
accept it,
every
you're a
lemon.
fool.
Yeah, take every lemon that life give you, make it a lemonade.
Well said, and so true. I mean, you could look at the lives of many women that have been through many situations and husbands and whatever. You see them at the end. They're queens. They got what they wanted. They just kept moving. Think it's you. You come alone, you go alone. Do what you want to benefit you at this moment. If you turn something negative, you're a good person, you'll find another good person somewhere else that appreciates you. It's a tough thing to say because a lot of women are heartbroken. Men are heartbroken. Women drop men too. They have to just go with it and keep moving on because that day's gone. Trust me, the day goes very quick. This is not a dress rehearsal, as we all know. So do what
That's
you
right.
want, enjoy your life. The Vanderpump and all these series are incredible. They're a great series of fun and joy, and that's what we get out of it. I thought of this 20, I said this before to someone. I thought of this 20 years ago with Bravo. I had a client working for Bravo. I was showing her an apartment and selling her one. I said, follow me. Come around with me and my clients with a camera. She said, no one's interested. I said, that's what you think. You see, it didn't come to fruition. Because it is people want to see other people's lives. And
Mm-hmm.
what's better than you walking people around and watching you sell them, whether it's a million or a $50 million apartment, and 115 million just got sold in New York. They'll tell me New York's dying. Tell me
Mm-hmm.
it's not. City of
Eh,
the world. I say it all
And
day.
remember, I'm pretty sure you're very familiar with this show too, because I know you're a very good friend with a lot of the people in that show, $1 Million Listing.
Right.
I think that was one of like the most entertaining shows on Bravo. Not just because the cast was entertaining. I mean, they were really funny, big personality kind of show, but because we were able to see New York City from the perspective of selling millions of dollars in these beautiful homes and apartments, and it showed people real situation. Like buying a house, like you said at the beginning, is one of the biggest investments that you can ever
No
do.
question.
You know, like it comes in great times and bad times. Like you said, like could be a marriage buying their first home together, or their fifth home together, or somebody who just got out of a divorce, they need a new place. So all the stories that you get to see through like $1 Million Listing is what made that show so entertaining. So I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, I mean that's why $1 Million Listing was rather interesting. And look how
Mm-hmm.
much money Frederick's made.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people that want to work with him because of who he is. So fame made him even more famous and more richer. He's a great guy, though. I really enjoy being with him. He's a great guy. But it's you have to be believable. If you're believable, you can sell anything. I've sold everything. Everything you can think of, I've sold. I would walk into Neiman Marcus with things in my bag to sell them from China. I walked in myself. I walked into and they bought all my products. That's the way we used to do things
Mm-hmm.
before the internet, before all that. So if you can sell yourself, you're selling the product. If you sell yourself on TV and these women, I mean, every one of the shows is different, but you're seeing them for what they are. And that's the greatest gift. You're seeing them interact with their husbands, with their families, and this is what people. It's tough on husbands because you're seeing things that you never realized before, but you rerun the show and you see things you never realized, and sometimes that causes friction with the husband. It's kind of tough, and then they're all taken with themselves. They're celebrities, so to take that into effect. But it's entertaining, and the audience is growing and growing. I still cannot get over when they had, I mean, the President of the United States knows about Ariana. I mean, is this mind blowing?
It's
Or
mind blowing.
I travel a great deal. I go somewhere in Europe or wherever, and I'm always the center of attention. It always was real estate brought me to the center of attention. But they've seen housewives. My mouth is open. I actually can't believe it. And I get letters and texts from all over the world. And I'm thinking, really? So, I was on TV in Canada. It's just, it's fascinating.
It's
We
the
live in an
world's reality
amazing world.
TV.
And I'm always so glad to be part of it. It's like the best. And I'm always thrilled to be selling real estate again. It's a great
And
life.
and I'm happy to have you tonight, Laurie. You know that I absolutely adore you.
Thank you. Kisses to you, and
Look,
let's keep it going. It's a
yes,
lot of fun. Let's all hope the future is giving us all that joy.
that's
Lots of
right.
fun, lots of activity. The shows will go on. People will
That's
go
right.
on. Anyways, I'm thrilled, and I'm happy to say a few things about Ariana, which I truly believe is
Well,
what she's really like.
I'm so happy that you came tonight. I'm so happy that you were able to not only share your takes on Ariana, but also your own experience on reality TV shows and how how crazy can people be being so invested on these people's lives because it's entertaining, but we
Oh
also
my
gotta
God,
remember.
it's going out on going working real estate. It's not entertaining. It's entertaining. You're dealing with people all day long. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm having the best time. Every day is a new deal, a new person, a new story. I say that it's true. Anyways, I've never sold anything someone was not happy with, that someone didn't make money with. Trust me, I say it over and over again. Buy real estate. Look at the billionaires of the world and see how much money they have in real estate. Yes, they do. They diversify. They keep
that's
their
right.
money in real estate and they keep their money in stocks. And that's the way of the world.
That's
And
right.
let's keep America strong. And let's keep housewives going.
That's right.
Bravo.
Wow. Laurie, so thank you so much for coming tonight. And I want you to give the last advice to all the listeners. I want you to give them because like this whole entire episode, it's not only about reality TV shows, but like I'm taking so much with me tonight. So I want you to give everyone who's listening right now a Laurie advice of the night.
What's my advice?
Yes.
I said it before, I'll say it again. Think a lot of yourself. Be secure. Tell yourself you're the best. Never moan. Just keep going. And a lot of people have a lot of problems. There's a lot of problems in the world. And you just have to take each day and enjoy it. Live each day like it's your last. But enjoy everything. Enjoy the sunshine. Getting up in the morning and smelling the grass and the trees are blooming now. So this is a great moment. Every time, every month is a different wonderful time. So let's keep it going. New York, alive and kicking.
That's right. That's what we love to hear. New York City is back.
Yes.
Okay,
And
everybody.
everyone
Thank you.
come here and buy.
That's right.
Make
Come to New York
money.
City.
Buy New York.
And call Laurie because she will definitely find you the
Call
best
Laurie
place to live.
Cooper. Douglas
Yes.
Elliman. You'll find me. Take care.
Thank you guys for tuning in tonight, and thank you, Laurie, for coming
My
on the
pleasure.
show. It was a pleasure to have you, and I will be back next week. Bye, besties.